What is up, everybody? Logan here with another video coming at you guys. And today I'm joined with Gino. And Gino started Bet Openly, he's the founder of it. And this is a sports betting site. And what's really cool, it really separates him from the other books, the other, bettors out there is Bet Openly, they only take 1% juice on your bets. So just a really cool idea, right? Because a lot of sports bettors and we do a lot of stock market stuff on this channel, and people know that the commissions eat into so many trading strategies. And, I know specifically for me, I've had so many endless months of betting where I would have been profitable in the month if they didn't take 10% juice. So today, Gino's going to kind of walk us through Bet Openly. We're going to talk about his kind of track record this year as well. He's been crushing it on the betting side. I've been following along a little bit here and there. So I really appreciate you coming on the channel, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit and chat today.
Thanks for having me, brother. And thanks for the warm introduction. Yeah, I'm the founder of Bet Openly, but I also happen to be a capper and what I consider not a pro, because pros live off their money, but I can find, EV advantage edges and I can win more than I lose, but I don't live off my gambling. So I don't want to misconstrue that at all. My expenses are more than the few units that I rake in every year.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, man, I appreciate, like I said, you taking the time and just being super transparent about it. But yeah, I've used Bet Openly for a lot of the time, a lot of my bets. And one of my favorite things that you guys have that the platforms don't have is you can actually host your own parlays. And that's what drew me to Bet Openly out of the gate was, I was like, oh, the 1% juice is cool. But it was when I could start hosting parlays, which essentially like you get to become the casino, right? If you're the player, I love this idea because there's so many times where I'll see, you'll look at a slate and you'll be like, gosh, UFC is a perfect example for it, right? Where it's like, I would never take a fighter over like minus 160. Like that's the most juice I'll pay on a fighter. But like, there's so many times where I'm like, this underdog actually has a decent shot, but I'm not confident enough to take him outright. So I'm just going to host a parlay and I'm going to put in what I'm confident with and then throw in a leg that maybe I'm less confident with. And that leg saves your bet sometimes, right? Because you're like, oh, they did come through. So I really like that part about Bet Openly, and that's what's really drawn me to the platform, because you can just whip something up, and if the other user on the other side wants to fill it, you're just in such a good spot because it's like, oh man, now I'm going head to head against somebody who's on the exact opposite side, but all I need to happen is win one leg, just like if you're the casino.
Yeah, so let me just show you a couple here on the screen. So we call them housing. So you can house a 2-team parlay, you can house a 4-team parlay. And the big word here is or. With parlays, you all are used to needing and, you need leg 1 and leg 2 and leg 3. So the person that created this parlay has Natalie, Marlon, Ian, and Zhang. They need all 4. So the reason you see or is you win if any one of these wins. Now, people always say to me, like, why would you ever house these? Like, none of these people can win at the plus 300, plus 200, whatever. I'm like, dude, this is what Vegas was built on. What Logan just described. The one that no one expects falls down. And again, not all parlays are just 300. It's like, look at this one. Alamaine's in there. So like that's a favorite. So all you only lose if O'Malley, Zhang, and Natalie all win. So again, not for everyone, but just realize that Vegas was built on parlays. I'm showing these right now. We have them for all sports, but that's housing parlays. And then we're peer-to-peer 1% juice, guys. So the reason we're able to do that is I don't wear any risk. I'm connecting 2 people. For y'all that are familiar with the stock market and stuff, it's essentially like if someone wants a stock option and someone's absorbing that. So that's what we do, is connect people on opposite sides of every bet. You'll see this green bar right here. You don't need to take the whole bet. You can take as little as $10. So during NFL, you'll see some absolute whales. I'm considered a big bettor because my unit's $1,000, but you'll see dudes throwing 50 racks on a game on Bet Openly. And the favorite thing for me is the people on social hit me up and they're like, "That's your bet, huh?" I'm like, "Dog, I wish I had it like that." I do not have it like that.
Oh man.
Don't know whose it is, but I can tell you who it's not.
Dude, that's awesome too. Cause like, well, here's a live parlay that just popped up.
There you
This is,
go.
yeah. So right here, that's actually kind of nuts. You have
Yeah,
to,
dude, we got a bunch going down, dude. We just passed 20,000 users. It was
yeah,
a pretty big achievement for us. And dude, it's a crazy time with NFL coming up. By NFL, just 2.5, 3 weeks away, we're going to be adding, well, Bet Open will now have all sports. So we're adding tennis and golf. And most importantly, that I think people are most excited for is right now you can do DFS on Bet Openly. So no different than the competitors,
yeah.
Prize Picks, Underdog. You can do DFS with us. We do 50% less hold, but more importantly, we're going to let people bet single player props against each other. So if you have Patrick Mahomes over 300 yards, someone else can take that bet and have under 300 yards.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. Cause that's the one thing that I dislike the most about prize picks is
Yep.
you're forced to pick two. And cause they have some of the coolest player props ever seen. Like my favorite,
Yeah,
I'm a big golf guy and they'd always have like the birdies over and under, and you can't find that on any other site.
we'll
So
have it for you, brother.
yeah, like that's what's so cool. And like being able to straight bet those and fill those for a decent, unit size. And my unit size is $250. So
That's a
I'm not
lot.
pale, but it's
Dude, that's a lot. And sorry to talk over you just a little bit.
very
Uh,
good.
any bet you make, so not only can you take it from the live feed off random people, but you can click this share button. Mind you, we're showing desktop. I actually like the mobile version better, but it's better for this segment. You can copy the link, you can text it, email it, tweet it, Telegram it, WhatsApp it, or Facebook it. And it's just an active URL to your exact bet. So we really do want to remove the shadiness. A lot of people talk a big game on social media, but
Yep.
then when it comes time to paying their bills, can't find them.
Yep.
You can send them a link. We do obviously make 1% from that. But yeah, that's where we're at.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. The other thing too, as we're kind of unpacking bet openly a little bit, and I know you do take a lot of plays or try to tell people, hey, if you take it on bet openly, look at the odds you're getting. And I find that especially if you're taking the underdogs that day, you get such better pricing, right, on these plays. At least in like the MLB season, that's what I liked the most was, the Royals are plus 174, but I think they're only like plus 150 on the other apps right now or close to.
Exactly.
So it's
So,
like that's such a big difference. Like people don't
hey,
realize how big of a difference that is.
dude, I'm trying to tell people like 5 to 10% separates profitable from not profitable bettors. They just don't feel it. They feel like they're terrible at gambling because they're so used to having $20. Dude, you know how hard it would be to make money in stock if you had to pay 20% every trade?
Oh, it'd be horrible.
It's unfathomable. People wouldn't do it, but they'll do it in this industry because it was a vice for so long, it was illegal for so long that they feel like they're breaking the law. Um, but so getting into that, like, although Logan gave a great example with Kansas City, look at both sides of every bet, top to down. What we
Yeah.
do is we remove the variance completely. So it's almost like what Robinhood claimed to be, and I know they kind of have a bad reputation. They're like, oh, we take no commissions, but then they would have you buying and selling stock at different prices. So
Yeah.
if that's just not authentic to me.
Yeah.
So we're super clear that there is no variance. The winner keeps 99%. So we don't take any money up front. The 99% goes to the winner. So the true math is every loss you save at least 10% on, and every win you should win 8% more on.
That's
That's like our napkin math.
perfect. Yeah, that's those are honestly like my two favorite features of Bet Openly is I literally use it to host parlays and bet on dogs when I'm like, gosh, dude,
100%.
the line is so much better on Bet Openly. Especially if it's like NFL too. Like when you can get those spreads, like a spread that's minus 110 is over here would be, like minus 101 or 102, or depending on how the line moves a little bit, maybe plus 100 on each side. And it's like, when you have a really good edge on a game, or at least you feel like you do, maybe it's your favorite team and you just know how they play at home, or just feeling like you have that edge and then being able to lay it down and somebody filling
Yep.
you is just that's like my two favorite like things that I use Bet Openly for. So I really do like
One,
features.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And one thing I'll say too, and let's just go back to like what you'll start to see. So you see where it says bet stacked?
Yeah.
I got kind of like popular on TikTok educating people and talking about fading the public. That's everyone knows Gino is like fade the public. And the reason I say that's so perfect is if you really do believe in like fading the public, you'll see when bets get stacked, people will put more generous. It's like if you're an options trader and people are offering you more and more to fill it last minute because they feel really good about their option.
Yeah.
You can essentially be the house and take these. And you'll see sometimes people have moved the line 5 or 10% in your favor, which is just like, it's insane. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to take advantage of anyone. I'm telling you, this is on the live feed. Like,
Yeah.
they're trying to get their bet filled. They're at the game. They want action. You will see bet stacking, and contest is a totally different feature, but I'm happy to discuss that as well. But
Yeah.
long story short, yeah, you'll see that as a possibility.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one thing we're going to talk about too, and that I wanted to mention a little bit, is you're actually having a really great MLB season. And I've been following along. My favorite bet that we did this year, I actually did 2 units. I think you guys did 2 units as well, but it was when the Twins played the Mariners, and it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was on the mound, and the Twins actually came through and won that game, and they were the dogs that night. I think they were plus 180 and they moved to like plus 200 instantly and then just took off. So I've been following a lot and I've been really happy with a lot of the over unders. And I just wanted you to kind of talk about, I think you said you're up, how many units is it now? 75, 9? It's something
Yes.
wild for the
So
season.
yeah, and I want to add it, dude. I am usually very happy up 20 units on the year.
Mm-hmm.
20% ROI year over year is better than my stock portfolio. So
Yeah.
I'm almost a little mad that we're up as much as we are because we're starting to sound like all the cappers that are
Yeah.
bullshitters.
Yeah. I
But
feel
yeah,
that.
technically we're up 106 units this year.
Wow.
That's disciplined to gens. That
Yeah.
includes multiple sports. I'm a volume better. I give out almost 10 plays a day. Like yesterday, for instance, I went 4 and 4, but was up 2.4 units. And that's how I bet. Like I'm cool with that. You'll see most of my bets are plus money. Very rarely am I parlaying anything unless I truly believe in some sort of correlation. And that's where we're at. So like I tell the guys that join, because discipline to gens is $45 a month. I'm not pressuring anyone to join or anything. I tell them though, like, guys, I'm looking to make a couple units a month. And if I can do that every month, the law of compounding interest will be just fine.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. That's a fantastic goal to reach for. And I think that's also, I'd say options trading is very similar to betting, where number one, the swings of like when the market goes down really hard
Oh
is like
my
when a
God.
baseball team scores like 5 runs against you or something. So
I get it, dude.
it's like that same volatility. So that's where like my heart's always been in it, is I love the statistical analysis of like how many times has this team won in the stadium in the last few years or whatever, and like what was their lineup then, who were their pitchers, or whatever sport I'm looking at for it. Like tennis is a great one for doing like seeing people like who's gonna win if they lose set one, but they were the favorite. Like now you should take them to come back and win because you're getting pretty solid value, because tennis is like an endurance sport. So that's the
Yep.
other thing, right? Like when you have those statistical edges of like how often does this person come back and win, or how often does this team cover the spread, and just having like the little edge, like you said, that EV just in your favor, right? On something that's why like Betalytics is really cool, because you'll
Yeah,
get
yeah. I mess
10%
with them a
edge.
lot.
Yeah, like
And it's funny because EV's becoming more popular now. Like if people are starting to educate themselves. And with math, that means expected value for any of you newer to the term. I don't expect shit in sports. So I always say that. I always tell people it is EV positive, but I don't expect anything in sports. And they always like think I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm not a mathematician. I'm just telling you I don't think it. So I just always want to like clarify that like when you expect things in like nature or science, it's a little different than when you expect something in sports with so many variables.
Yeah, 100%. Like a lot of them I see are like pitcher props that you guys have been taking lately. I know some of the members, maybe not you specifically, but some of the other guys that take
Yeah.
plays.
I, yeah. And again, I don't want to hang on every word. I
Mhm.
just say estimated, like, because that's what it is to me. It's
Yeah.
the
Oh,
estimated value versus like expected. I don't actually expect anything in sports, but again, sorry for being such uh, a tool for hanging on every word. I just wanted to be clear because when it comes to math and science, like when I expect things in the market,
yeah.
like when I expect Bitcoin to hit $100,000 in the next 5 years, I use the word expect. But in
Yeah.
sports, I like to say estimated because I think there's a lot of variables
Oh,
again. So
there's
I know
so like the second a team loses their quarterback in the first quarter, like
it's a wrap.
yeah, whole different game. So
Yeah.
the other thing I was going to ask you too, like for your plays specifically, like how you're having such an incredible year where you guys are up over 100% this year so far, like incredible performance. And
Yeah.
like what I know you do a lot of algo, like you have this algorithm.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
all of those plays algo plays? Are they
No,
90%
this
of
is a
them?
very good question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
thank you. You're good at what you do. I wasn't going to get into it because I didn't know how deep you wanted me.
yeah,
So
no,
technically, Gino's not up that much. I brought on a guy named Trevor.
cool.
I saw that he was extremely risk averse with high upside. So that's actually I first partnered with Matty Betts,
Mhm.
and I wish Matty was here to defend himself. I joke that I'm disciplined and he's a degen. So we made disciplined degens. So like the yin and the yang kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
then Matty, he's a partner of Bettor. We have a studio together. I got nothing but good things to say about the kid. I love him. He he does like all free plays. He's really good for the industry. And so it was just my plays for a while.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, I want to like bring someone else in that kind of bets like you, Maddie, higher upside, get these degen kids what they want. So we shopped around for a while and I found Trevor. And it's so funny, and I hate to sound like the old man in the room. All these like people on TikTok are like, we're hating on him because he's older than me. And I'm like, dude, do you want to date the dude or do you want him to make you money? Because like when I get
That's
my financial advice from someone, they don't need to be cute in a bikini. They
yeah.
they need to make my house bigger. And like, so it was, I'm not trying to preach to anyone out here, but like, it's just sad to me or funny to me. Like, if you're actually about your money, do you give a shit what someone looks like? Like,
Right.
am I saying I would open up a gym with Trevor? No, maybe not, but that's not what we're doing here. So,
Yeah.
long story short, Trev is now the other half of DeGen in terms of the picks.
Cool.
He is big on player props. That was another thing. I probably only give out one or two player props of my 10 bets, where he's the other way, 8 to 10 player props of his 10 bets. Um, and he finds little variances in the projections, and a lot of his plays are plus 300, plus 400, stuff like that. He'll also ladder stuff. He'll do a lot of stuff that's trending. So although I want to take credit, what you'll notice is there's two channels in Discipline Agens. One is Discipline. I call it the bankroll builder. I tell people if you bet all of my plays, you will be up units month over month, year over year. Obviously, not every month. I wish I was that good, but we've been fortunate enough to have it was 10 or 11 of the last 13 or 14 months. So pretty solid. And like, again, 100 and something units. So way more than I'd ever expect. And I think about 60% of that is my numbers. And then he essentially, it's almost like your friend in the casino when you're up that takes chips from you and says, I'm going to go try and 10x these or not. I know that sounds like insane, but that's what we are.
Yeah.
So I hope
Oh,
that context is helpful.
Yeah, because I've been in the Degens group for a while since you guys started it way back in the day. And because I was helping you guys out way back,
Yeah,
way
yeah, no, I remember you, brother.
when you were whipping it up. And I don't know, it's just a lot of fun being a part of the process as well back then, and just seeing how far everything's come with discipline, but also bet openly overall. And I think because I remember the day that you guys crossed was it $1 million bet on bet openly, and now it's almost five, which is
Bro,
like
look at this number right here. Dude,
yeah,
honestly, I think by Saturday or Sunday, we will have saved people 5 mil.
yeah, like that would yeah, that
Thanks
juice
for
like
remembering
that's
that, man.
oh yeah, 100%, like, and that's just in juice alone that the casino doesn't get to, or like whether it's MGM or whatever all the other ones are that are doing it, like you save
You
people
know,
that much in juice, which is so cool because if without it they would be, I mean, that's more money that would have gone to, that gets to go back to the players that would have gone to the house for no reason.
and this number is actually downplayed. So when we created this back end calculator,
Mhm.
it was on the 8 and 10% I talked about. So when someone loses, it's the 10%. And, and that's all we did. But we have since added parlays, props, stuff like that. And dude, some props have a 20% vig on both sides. So then
Oh
that's
yeah.
not 8 and 10% savings. When two people both bet that, we're saving them 20%. So this is actually a very old algorithm. And I joked with my guys a week ago. I was like, let's go the old way to 5 mil, but then let's fix it. So like by when you bet a prop, because props are usually juiced higher, or when you bet the first quarter, it's usually 15%, not 10. I said, let's please update it a little bit and make it a little more accurate. So you'll see five's going to take another couple of days. And then if you see it going faster, it's because I fixed the calculation.
Yeah, that's okay, perfect. If you wanna, this will be the last thing I kind of ask about your betting strategy, and then we'll have a couple fun questions for the end. Of course, I'll have you back on in the future too. One thing I wanted to ask you was like, I followed a lot of your plays, and you like to take a lot of what seems to be, at least during baseball season, just straight teams outright, like Twins money line. Like I've seen, we did that for example, Royals money line because of the value specifically, right? Because it's, hey, this should be plus 120, but it's plus 200, stuff like that. That I see a lot of the, like, you guys just with your information. A lot of it seems to be algo plays, which is fantastic too. So I see that a lot. And then I also see you do take a lot of like plus 150s. You like the plus three or plus 130s. So you're not just doing minus 110s, which is, right in the industry, that's what everybody's like. Yeah, let's do the minus 110s. And if you hit for, what is it, 53%, you're profitable on the year. But you do it a
Yeah, yeah.
little differently. And I feel like that's what I like about how you play is like you're never afraid to take the dog if you feel like they have that advantage instead of being strictly minus 110. Because I feel like if you're strictly looking at the minus 110s, those are like sometimes the biggest trap lines there are, right?
Yeah, agreed. Dude, to be honest, so because I'm such a fade the public guy,
Yeah.
um, I just watch the money, dude. And I know it sounds like, again, I hope this resonates with your stock people. Like, would you buy a stock at its all-time high? Maybe, but you might, but would that be a long-term strategy to profit?
No.
No. So I'm literally looking for the lines that have moved away the most, where Vegas, who I trust to make to cap, I
Yeah.
always joke they're the best cappers in the world. I want to be on their side. So when they're super exposed on a game, but the line's locked in, I'll come in and bet it. And they're like, why, hey, Gino, people ask, like, hey, Gino, why'd you bet that? The line hasn't moved. What do you like about this pitcher? I'm like, nothing. I like that 70% of the money is against us. And Vegas said, let's not move the line an inch. We're comfortable here. We're exposed, but we're comfortable. And that's like one example of how I fade the public. Another example, if my algorithm just gives estimates, right? It just, we call them true lines.
Yeah.
My algo has a true line of, 5, 10 points of value. And I watch it for a little while. Sharps don't seem to be up against it. Seems just to be a pretty normal play, but my algo seems to identify value. I'll usually I'll usually go all in and say, hey, like that's my play of the day. And again, when just for y'all to understand what play of the day means to me, it means like 2 units, like 2% of my bankroll.
Yeah,
So I hope that's helpful. I really
absolutely.
don't, yeah, I really don't want to take away from anyone else's style. I'm just kind of married in my style. Maybe this context is helpful. I lost more money than I can count from when I started gambling at age 15 until uh shoot, let's think here. 29,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So like for me, the when I found a way that worked for me, now I'm like stuck in that way. So I
Like,
don't want anyone to think like Gino's saying how he bets is the way to bet. That's far from it. Uh yeah, I hope that's helpful. Sorry, I'm
no,
just
yeah.
trying. I'm not doing a good job getting good words out of my mouth right now.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, we're already up late as it is, but no, man. A couple questions we'll have before we wrap this video up. Um, Number one, these are going to be fun ones. Number one, do you think, here people we've seen here and there lately, players getting busted, coaches getting busted for betting on these games, and then also a lot of tennis players lately have come forward for fixed games, like fixing them for whatever reward. How often do you think games are fixed? And then also, do you think all games are fixed? Do you think it's a certain sport? Like, I want to go all out, like conspiracy theorist Gino for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'll give you guys what you want, and I'll probably tell you some boring shit too. So, number one, I don't think any league, any respectable league in the on the planet is involved in any game fixing. So you can disagree with that, but that's my bold statement. I don't think the NFL fixes shit. I don't think the MLB, the NBA. Now, do I think there's refs that are crooked in the NBA? Absolutely. Do I think there's players that tell their family to do something all day, every day? But I don't believe the leagues are tainted. Their brand, if you just look at the valuation of these companies, these corporations, these teams, it has gone up so much. Like when the Black Sox threw the World Series, these dudes were paid like just better than a plumber. Now, like Neymar got 100 million euro and like a palace and a team of five. Like it's like these dudes are paid more than CEOs. It's
Yeah,
not even close anymore. They've replaced CEOs in many aspects.
yeah,
So my bold statement is no one, no league is fixing anything. Now, second to that statement, um, I do think there's players that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. Um, Fixed is a word I kind of stay away from, just because fix means you have a way to control the outcome.
yeah,
So I hope that's helpful. And to
absolutely.
answer your question, if you're looking for people like throwing games or shaving points, I would say look at like the B rate players. Like, right, if I'm first off, I didn't play sports since high school. I wasn't good enough to play in college. But if I magically made a team in college and I was like, not an all-star, but like a decent player, but I knew just the pros weren't in my reach and I
Yeah.
didn't come from any other money or assets, I'd consider trying to cash out, a couple hundred racks before my last snap.
Yeah.
So that's just, these are all my opinions.
100%. I always joke with my buddies too that like if one of us were good enough to play sports, like we would have to play for like Detroit Mercy or like one of the IUPUI, like the teams that where they're like
Those are studs. Those dudes are studs.
yeah. Like it's just funny to think like, you look at the teams that are in last place or whatever in the college basketball D1 and you're like, gosh, dude, even if you had the chance to make it to that level, like,
These
God,
dudes,
how funny would it be to say like, hey, my over under set at 9.5, like take the under, I'm scoring 0.
exactly. And dude, so the craziest part is you actually can't even get the money down. That's what I don't think people understand now.
Mm,
Um, the legalization's actually cleaned up when it's all bookies and off the records. Bookies don't all talk to each other. So like the network's too small for that. So now they could tell when people are putting when there's like this random game or this random player prop and it's just bet 10x what the average is over a year, assuming no virality on social media, like that's like a red flag.
Yeah.
The money, follow the money, dude.
Yeah, it is really crazy because like they're talking about the coach that got busted betting college baseball, I think it was.
Oh yeah, the Alabama coach, and he was betting against his team like a slime bag.
Yeah, against them, and the crazy thing is too, it was only like $500. Like
What
we're
an
not
idiot.
talking. Because I talked to a lot of the DK guys were telling me in person. A lot of my buddies work for DraftKings, and it's really it's really interesting because they were talking to me about it. They're like, "Yeah, dude, like he was only betting $500. So the fact that it even got flagged is
What a
the
clown.
craziest part."
He's a
Yeah.
clown. Dude, I make more off non-fixed games.
Yeah, it's like it's wild thinking like, well, I'm the coach for this team. Let me do a very small like $500. I'm not saying it's a small amount of money, but if you're gonna go that at that length to do something, like
No,
why
yeah, I agree.
for such little like I'm not saying it's little money, but like if
No,
you're
brother,
gonna do that, go all
I'm
in,
with you.
you know?
Let me reword what I think you're trying to say. I
Yeah.
actually never unit chain people. Like I think that's one of the lamest things people can do. Any
Yeah.
bet, units are more important to me than dollar amount. It's 1% of whatever. I don't care if you're a big better or winning bet. I don't care if you win or lose over time. And think of it like this. Would I ever rob a bank in my life? Probably not. But if I was going to commit a felony, I need a couple commas. And
Yeah.
these dudes that are like committing felonies and stuff and losing their careers over $500, that's the point. It's not that if you bet less than 500, I'm judging you. It's like,
Right.
please don't risk your career over $500.
Exactly. Like
You told
that's
me dude came up on like 5 million over the last 5 years. I'd be like, all right, he had it run.
he did
He's
it. Yeah.
good.
He's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's that's where I'm at. So I hope that's clarified for anyone because I don't judge, dude. Some of the best guys that I follow tell me that their unit size is $25, and
Yeah.
the dudes are sharp, man.
Yeah, they're good. They're winning 100, they're winning $100 a year. They're, you
So
know,
they find value. They do the
yep.
research. That it's more to me. It's more about time than money, dude. Some of the biggest bettors I know are idiots, but they're good at something else, and
Yeah.
this is their escape.
Yeah.
That's why I would tell people don't let a big ticket, don't follow a ticket because you see commas. That's
Yeah.
legit, not cliche. Some of the worst bettors I know are worth a lot of money, and gambling is their escape. They spend no time preparing. They
Yeah.
crack open a 12 pack and they're watching the game.
Yeah. They're just
Some of the
going.
best bettors I know don't have a lot of money. They love gambling. They're trying to make it, and they only have like a couple grand to their name. So they need to make that grand last.
That's awesome. Yeah. I never even really thought about it that way, that some of these guys with smaller bankrolls are just absolutely,
Grinding.
yeah, like just getting it. Well, we'll do we can do one last question for this
Yeah,
one
yeah.
back in the future, but NFL season's coming around. I want your Super Bowl team. I want your sleeper team. And then I also want the overrated team of the season in your head. And I know it's preseason, still too early to really tell,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you had three things, like the team you think that everybody's hated on the last few years for your sleeper, that's gonna have a good
Yeah.
Super Bowl team, and I'm gonna guess you're gonna say the Niners because that's your team.
I,
But
I do I do think it's going to be a Niners Eagles rematch in the NFC, but I think it's the Eagles game to lose. So I trust me, I bet my Niners every week, but it's such a insubstantial amount of money that it's like it's just my hobby. That's my escape. I always tell people if I don't give out Niners plays often unless there's value. Even though I bet them every week, they're not on my slate more than
yep,
3 times a year. So I do think Niners Eagles for the NFC. Um, I was wrong last year. I had Baltimore as my sleeper. I got 18-1 on it. I still thought it was good value, but they didn't come through last year. I know a couple people got that as their sleeper this year. I just don't see it. I think they got worse.
I do too, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really low on a lot of teams. Who would I be high on in the AFC? I'd probably say the Chargers. I think
Yeah,
I think people were jumping on him a little too early the last 2 years. And I go back, I'm psycho, dude. I go back and rewatch the games. I want to say it was week 2 or week 3. Chargers should have beat Kansas City.
Yeah,
And that loss on that pick Herbert threw on like first and goal or second and goal from his 10,
brutal.
that changed the trajectory of the whole game. And you can't give Kansas City those hops. And Kansas City wasn't that good last year. They got good at the right time.
Yep.
So I think Kansas City takes a step back this year. So Super Bowl matchup for me, I could see a Chargers Niners rematch. I could see an Eagles Chargers. That's where I'm at there. Sleeper, if I want to go past, because Chargers are still, in a
Good
top.
odds. They're plus
Yeah.
1,600 or 16 to 1.
Yeah, it's still good odds. I would say like an absolute sleeper would be like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I they were good last year, man, before all these injuries and stuff. And they went out and got some defense. They went out and they secured some depth at running back. They're a tough squad, dude. And their defense played really good games and really bad games. And I do believe the coach they got from the Niners is, even though he's a little quirky and a little crazy, he's a good football brain. So that's as far as I would go on like a sleeper. I'm not sure if that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect right there. So yeah, we got Kansas City as a step back team. We have the Dolphins for your sleeper pick, and then we got a couple. You like the Niners, Eagles, and Chargers for your Super Bowl guys. So yeah, I would
I'd
say
say KC steps down. So I mean, if we want a couple more in there, for the AFC, throw the Saints in there as another NFC sleeper. I would throw the Saints there. That's actually my third best NFC team.
I like that a lot, actually.
So that's there. Yeah, I'm trying to think. AFC, I'm just drawing so many blanks right now.
I know, me too. Like, I think of the NFC South every time, and I'm like, gosh, dude, who's good? Jacksonville? Like, you're
Jacksonville, I would put there. Honestly, as crazy as that sounds, Jacksonville Chargers. That was a good game last year. I could see Jacksonville Chargers as the AFC Championship, and then one team I'm selling. I think the Jets are going to actually be good. Their defense was that good, and now they got Cook, they got Rodgers. I'm just not. There's no value on them, and I don't think they're remotely as favored as they should be, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of where I'm at. I hope those are helpful.
So yeah, man, I really do appreciate you coming on for today's video, kind of talking about Bet Openly, what you're about. Like I said, I've been a really big fan of the platform, and and for anybody who's watching, like, I didn't pay Gino didn't pay me to come on. We've been homies for almost like 2 years now. It's been a minute. So, I shoot him text time to time. He always comes back with something. So
100%, dude.
Yeah, it's been a really good time, and he definitely is one of my, like you are specifically, like one of my favorite cappers in the space, just from of like the TikToks. Like, that's how I found you. It was just on TikTok back when I used it. And you're just giving out some plays on a Sunday. It was like, these are my NFL plays for the day, and you just kept popping up. So it was really cool, kind of
thanks, brother.
Popping over. And then actually it took me a while to realize Bet Openly was a site, because I was just watching you for your plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I really do appreciate you coming on, like I said, and just taking this time, this almost hour of just chatting back and forth, having fun with it, and kind of showcasing what everything's about, and just helping this grow. Because I think Bet Openly is going to just continue to grow and become people's, like, kind of home book,